So we're sitting here in the Manchester Science Museum amongst an astounding array of black and white photos of the Amazon rainforest, showing its trees, its rivers, its mountains and its peoples. I'm here with Stephen Leach, who's the curator of the exhibition. Stephen, can you just tell people a little bit about the exhibition and what people can expect to see when they come here?
So it's a photographic exhibition celebrating the diversity and the rich kind of biodiversity of plant, animal and human life in the Amazon rainforest. So really celebrating that kind of the richness of that kind of region and that environment, but also really looking at the Amazon rainforest as it comes to its crucial tipping point in the fight against deforestation and climate change. So the exhibition was curated by Lelia Salgado. My Brazilian is not 100%, so the pronunciation could be off there a bit. And it is over 200 photographs, black and white photographs, taken by the Brazilian photographer Sebastião Salgado. So Salgado is one of the world's most kind of celebrated photographers and visual artists. So really, really lucky to have it here in Manchester. So it's the first time Salgado has had an exhibition in the UK outside of London for 20 years. So we feel it's about time that we had one here in Manchester. And this exhibition itself has been on an international tour. So stops such as Paris, Rome, Rio de Janeiro, and now here in Manchester as well.
Yeah, there's two things that struck me about the photographs. One, they're massive.
Yeah.
And second, they're in black and white. What does that do you think?
Yeah, so there's a few things there. So the curator, Lelia, really wanted people to feel that they were immersed in the Amazon rainforest. So in the landscape, so the forests, all that kind of moisture you see and the kind of humidity almost you can really feel, I think, as a visitor in the space. She wanted you to feel like you're in that space and really trying to capture something of the experience of the photographer. So he spent 7 years traveling the Amazon by river, on foot, in helicopters, really trying to get a sense of what that landscape feels like. So she really wanted to capture that. And he took the photographs in black and white. I think this is something that happened a few years ago. So he started to feel like colour photography almost distracted and kind of took something away from the subject matter. And because some of the things that he's trying to kind of depict are so stark and so important, like the destruction of the rainforest, he really wanted people to focus on that subject matter. So I think that's why the kind of black and white photography was chosen. But in terms of the way it's hung, that's just to give you that sense of, you've got the eye level when you're the visitor, you're walking in and amongst the photographs, you feel like you're in amongst it really.
Okay, and some of the pictures are actually of the local tribes people.
Yeah.
How did he sort of integrate himself into that?
So I think he kind of took an anthropological approach really in some ways. Salgado travelled to the Amazon. He's a Brazilian native himself. And the Amazon lies at the heart of Brazil. So 65% of the entire Amazon is in Brazil. So the Amazon is, the size of the entire Amazon is the equivalent of the EU or 10 times the size of France. So it's a huge area. There are, I think, over 160 different kind of ethnic groups and communities, distinct tribes living in that region, speaking over 130 languages. So within the exhibition itself, they're represented in structures called okas, which are a representation of kind of traditional or contemporary even housing for those kind of communities that live in the rainforest. And Salgado worked really closely with 12 groups across the entire Amazon region within Brazil, really trying to get a sense of the priorities for those leaders and working with them to kind of identify what some of those problems are, because they encounter deforestation, mining, logging, all these things that encroach upon their kind of traditional land and where they live, but also the impact of climate change as well. So really working with them to feel like they're part of that dialogue. So for example, the photographs and interviews that you see in the exhibition were kind of directed and worked on and kind of co-produced with those communities. But also they were invited to kind of roundtable events and dialogues with people working on climate change policy in Rio, for example. So when it was shown at the Museum of Tomorrow in Brazil as well. So lots of kind of work going on there.
Okay. Are we seeing a landscape that's going to vanish in the next few decades?
It's really stark, really stark what's happening. I think there's a fine balance in this exhibition between a feeling of optimism, because although 20% of the Amazon has been deforested since the 1980s, which has real problems for everyone. 80% of it is still in a pristine condition, and masses of it are really protected and well protected. So I think the artist really wanted to give a feeling of optimism and that this is something that we can protect. But at the same point, we're approaching these kind of global tipping points with some of these really key and crucial global climate systems. So the Amazon is a really fascinating and important climate for not just that South American region, but for the entire world.
Can you just tell us when you come and see the exhibition?
Yeah, sure. So it's open now from May 2022 to the 14th of August 2022. So it's quite a short run. So it's a free exhibition. So, we want as many people as possible to come and see it while you've got the chance.